Well, I want to introduce you to Stephanie Jacobs, winemaker, Cakebread Cellars, and really a pleasure to meet you this morning.
And nice to meet you too as well. Thank you for having me.
I've always loved my relationship with the Cakebread family and the brand. I've had a long association and just always really impressed. I got to taste the recent lineup of wines, which we carry the Chardonnay already, but I got to this Cabernet and it was really just a wonderful offering. So I wanted to meet you, talk to you, and get to know a little bit more about what's going on.
Great.
I made a little PowerPoint. Love to go through it with you, and we'll just cover a lot of information about the story of Cakebread. Um, and right, of course, we're in the heart of the Napa Valley. Was it 1973 that Cakebread got started? Is that correct? Or 74, 73?
The first vintage was 1973 Chardonnay.
Yeah, and this is a family that moved to Napa from Oakland. The parents were in the garage, the auto maintenance business, I think, or auto garage type of thing. And then also Jack was a really amazing photographer, and he fell in love with the spot, right?
Yes. So originally, Jack and Dolores purchased his father's mechanic garage in Oakland called Cakebread's Garage. And then he also was very into photography and was well acclaimed and was invited to study under Ansel Adams. And throughout that avenue, he was up in Napa Valley doing a photo shoot for a book, and ran into some friends who own this current property in Rutherford who offered to sell the property to him. And so they purchased the property with the proceeds from the photography book.
Nice. Well, things worked out pretty well. um, so I said, earlier that every year I taste all the different Cakebread wines, and at Merchant of Wine, we we tend to only carry one SKU per brand. But when I tasted this Cabernet, was really taken by it. There is something super lovable and gregarious and rich and textural and approachable. And I find that often with the 2017 wines, but this one just had a number of different gears that it's offering. And in my time selling the Cakebread wines, the Benchland wine was just such a teeny production. And so I was like, wow, that'd be really cool to showcase this and make sure people know what's going on. You guys make a number of different Cabernets, right?
We do. We make about four different Cabernet Reserves and then our Napa Valley Cabernet.
Yeah, and the Napa being kind of the brand ambassador, but these just are more unique selections, different sites. And does Benchland mean just like the base of the Napa Valley, like that that bowl, that dusty, basically the valley floor?
Yes, so there's a small area in Napa Valley called the Rutherford Bench, and it runs from Oakville through Rutherford. It's 6 miles long on the west side of the valley, and it covers the area just right at the base of the Mayacamas mountain range. So what happens is that the runoff from the mountains has deposited all this rich soil down at the base of the hill there in this 6 mile long area. And so it's created really nice loamy soils, sand, gravel, well-drained soils where the vines can produce really nice deep roots and get in there and um, produce very lovely concentrated wines. And this wine is made from two different ranches, one in Oakville, the Vine Hill Ranch, and then the other one is called Hill Ranch, which is at Jack and Dolores's property in Rutherford.
Very nice. I mean, since my connectivity with the winery, which ended in 2005 when I left Co-Brand, I've seen the facility just take on this beautiful architecture, and of course a beautiful parking lot, which wasn't there before, and just a really wonderful. And you've also separated the facility into two different sides of because you straddle the border, right?
Right, we're right on the border between Rutherford and Oakville, and so our Rutherford facility is the main winery where the first winery was, and that is what we call our white wine facility. And then right on the other side of the little creek in Oakville is our red wine facility.
And you when you're on this campus, the Cakebread campus, they look just like, you know, sister buildings, and they're 25 feet apart from each other or so, but there's a purpose of having them like that so you can call it a state, right?
Uh,
Or
yeah, so it's great having them right next door to each other. We actually just ride bicycles back and forth and kind of intermingle between the two buildings. But it's we make all of our wine here on site, yes, in Napa Valley.
cool. So this Benchlands wine is a special blend of five clones of Cabernet, and as you said, it's Rutherford and Oakville, and two pretty significant properties: the estate of Vine Hill Ranch, and then the Hill property. I don't know that one, and that you said that's owned by the Jack and Dolores.
Yes, so our Hill Ranch is at Jack and Dolores's house. It's just we have a little bit of Cabernet there and a little bit of Verdejo. It's a little white varietal, but mostly Cabernet, and it all goes into our Benchland Select. So that property has a little bit more loamier soils than the Vine Hill Ranch, and produces wines that have nice concentration of fruit, but a nice lush middle palate and nice supple tannins, where Vine Hill is a little bit more gravelly soils. And so it has dense, dark fruit characters, but has a really firm tannin structure. So we get a really nicely balanced wine of nice fruit, kind of lush middle palate, and nice tannin structure when we blend these two ranches together.
And 22 months in French oak, 60% new, and you use a wide range of forests in your French oak regiment.
Yes, typically we've narrowed it down to 2 to 3 coopers that match really well with the fruit that goes into each one of our wines.
And how long have you been associated with Cakebread?
I've been here just over 17 years. I started the beginning of 2004 as a enologist, and then was promoted to assistant winemaker in 2008, and then took over Pinot Noir in 2012, and then became winemaker at the end of 2017 when Julian Lax retired.
Great. And obviously, you've seen a lot of things happening in the Napa Valley. Do you live Napa proper, personally?
I do not. I actually live over in Sonoma
Okay, cool.
on the other side.
Yeah, not too far away.
Yep.
So do you take the mountain roads, or how do you get to work?
I I do both. I go around through Napa on my way into work, and then take the Oakville Grade on the way home. I used to take the mountain route both ways, but in the morning there can be icy up there. And I definitely have had a little bit of a scare. And so I don't go up there in the mornings anymore.
Got it. Yeah, I've hit some of that myself. The Cakebreads do work with a diverse number of vineyards, and this is the Dancing Bear Vineyard up on Howe Mountain, right?
Yes, so we make a single vineyard Cabernet from this ranch called Dancing Bear Ranch. And it's mostly Cabernet with a little bit of Merlot and Cab Franc here.
What is this room?
This is our new egg fermentation hall. So we just underwent a very long construction to redo our visitor center. And this is one of the rooms that was added as part of production. And we put in 12 new concrete eggs, mostly for Sauvignon Blanc fermentation. We do, and then storing a little bit of Chardonnay over the year. But it's been a wonderful, fun addition to our fermentation tools.
It's pretty sexy. I like it. I like the way it plays with the room, it's really it's probably a pretty interesting way to make wine. What do you think of the concrete tank movement, and what are some of the advantages that you see from it?
Well, I really like it with our Sauvignon Blanc. The shape of the egg itself creates a constant churning of the lees during fermentation. So you get this constant interaction with the juice or the fermented wine with the yeast lees, which kind of softens the acidity of the Sauvignon Blanc and probably other varietals too. But it creates a little bit more of a creamy texture in the mid palate and then softens a little bit of the edge of the acidity in the finish.
We just did a Zoom last night with Vegas Sicilia, and they've moved to from 100% French oak to 90% French oak and 10% concrete egg themselves, even with their reds. I've always known the property to be very much in touch with kind of the green goals of Napa Valley, and I know Bruce was really active in writing some books about it. And what's the latest and greatest in the efforts of Cakebread and sustainability and green practices?
Well, we've always had a history with organic farming, but we never haven't actually delved into it 100%. This year, we are moving into 100% organic farming, at least on our red varietals. We're working slowly with the whites and carneros because of the weather down there. Mildew is a little bit difficult, but the reds are definitely set up to be farmed very successfully organically. So we're really looking forward to that movement and going into a lot of mechanical weed control um, as a way of moving to organic farming.
Fantastic. I know that Napa Valley itself has some pretty big goals as far as leading the world in the direction of sustainability and measuring out inputs and outputs and things like that. Are there any developments there that are interesting to talk about? I don't know. It could be boring, but uh, anything that people are doing today that maybe we weren't doing 20 years ago.
Well, I think people are really looking at their energy consumption, and we're always looking at it. Right now, we're going into a big audit to move into an upgraded energy system or a microgrid system and installing solar panels and things like that, and to be able to be a little bit more self-sufficient that way. I think a lot of people are moving in that direction.
Yeah, for sure. And how about is water a part of the conversation in today's world? Winemaking.
Water as well. There's been some quite a few advances in water collection and wastewater treatment. So one of the systems that I've been looking at, it's called a biofiltro system, but it basically uses worms to digest the wastewater and turns it into usable water that we can use to water the landscaping or our vineyards and whatnot. But it's pretty interesting that you just have this bed of worms digesting solids out of the water.
That's interesting. All right.
Yeah.
I wonder how big those worms get. uh, cool. Well, every time I go to Cakebread, it's just really amazing to see how Cakebread's kind of the gateway. People find out about wine, they find out about better wine, they find out about Cakebread, they visit Napa Valley because of Cakebread, and it just really is been an inspirational spot for the Napa Valley for a very, very long time. And it's great to see how you've been able to elevate the brand and the wines. You've gotten some amazing scores with the wine that we're tasting today, and all these single plot Cabernets. Um, and is there a long term goal for that you have now that you're the winemaker of where you're going to take things?
Well, I love seeing these single vineyard Cabernet projects. Benchland Select with the two vineyards of Vine Hill and Hill Ranch and Dancing Bear and Uh, we have another one that's coming up online that hasn't been released yet, but our Susquehanna Springs property in South Napa on the Vaca Mountain Range will be coming out with a single vineyard Cabernet from there as well. So that's really exciting.
And with the wine that we're going to try tonight, um, is there any personal thoughts or memories about making this wine that you can, see, taste, smell in the wine that you want to share with us as we are about to taste it together?
Well, this wine, I have it right here, but here it is. I always think of the vineyards of these two that come off, or the fruit that comes off these two vineyards, because every time I walk into these two vineyards, it's like the epitome of like the perfect way a vineyard should look. The vines are just so well balanced and so well maintained, and the fruit is always bright and concentrated, and it just is the epitome of what Napa Valley represents.
In 2017 had, I think there was some concerns about some warmer weather that we had in 17, but I just think it made the wines just a little plumper, uh, added this wonderful texture to the wines, this concentration, richness, and I think it's really been kind of, not given enough credit. 17 is just a really good Napa Valley vintage. It's not always like textbook vintages that make the most interesting wines. Sometimes it's kind of crazy anomalies that kind of come along and help add to the story. And I think that's really what 17 delivers for me, anyway.
Yes, excuse me. Yeah, every vintage is so different, and we have all these different challenges that we have to adapt to. But 17 has definitely got a lot of fruit and concentration and flavors and a lot of weight to it as well. It's beautiful vintage.
That's great. Well, I appreciate you making time for us. It's in the middle of your work day, and so I know you're slamming this in for us, but we really appreciate it. And thank you to the Cook family as well. And uh, I hope that I get to come up and visit you very soon and get to shake your hand and say thank you, or at least wave to you. I don't know if we're ever going to shake hands again, but
Yeah, you'll have to come visit us and see our new visitor center.
I will do that. And I thank you very much. You have a great day, and cheers to you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye bye.